Ducks Takes.
All right, Ross. We'll start with the Indianapolis Colts placing running back Jonathan Taylor on the PUP as no deal was made.
This is a mess. This is really a mess. And I do, Jack, typically try to give organizations the benefit of the doubt. Jonathan Taylor is not hurt. The Colts are about to pay him $240,000 a week for each of the next 4 weeks to do nothing. To do nothing. Now, maybe they believe that a running back or two around the NFL will get hurt, and then they can trade Jonathan Taylor and get more in return. But you got to appreciate the irony here, right? That they don't want to give Jonathan Taylor a new contract. They don't want to reward him for the type of player he is, but they want other teams to give up significant draft choice compensation and pay Jonathan Taylor what he feels like he deserves. Think about the logic there. Like the Colts, they can't really have it both ways in my mind. I think they're going to put him on ice. Obviously, they're putting him on ice for the next 4 weeks, hoping somebody gets hurt somewhere else and that maybe they can get more in return for him. I think it's a mess. The question you have to ask every time the Colts do anything now, right or wrong, is how much of this is Jim Irsay? It's the point now where when you talk about Frank Reich or then Jeff Saturday or Chris Ballard or whoever, this feels like an owner-led organization. This feels like the owner is making the decisions. And maybe you guys sit there and say, more power to him. He owns a team. He can do what he wants. Okay. The owner is impetuous. The owner is emotional. The owner is at times illogical. And I think we're seeing all of those things come to fruition at the same time as it relates to Jonathan Taylor. None of this has gone well. None of this has been smart, the way they've handled the situation at all. And now they're in a situation where they're going to essentially pay him $1 million for the next 4 weeks to just stand there and do nothing, which, by the way, this helps Jonathan Taylor. What do they always say about running backs? Oh, he's got too much wear and tear. I don't know how much tread on the tire he has left. This is perfect for Jonathan Taylor. He gets to go ahead and make money without having more touches. He's going to play at some point this year, and maybe it's 10 games, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 8, and he'll look great. And this won't affect his free agency after this year at all. So I think Jonathan Taylor has been handling this perfectly, and I think the Colts have been really, really screwing this situation up.
Trade-a-palooza, we got multiple trades of note. Browns trade a 7th-round pick for kicker Dustin Hopkins, and they cut Cade York. The Eagles swapped 2025 picks for Broncos tight end Albert. Oh, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. The Broncos trade for kicker Will Lutz. Patriots trade kicker Nick Folk to the Titans. Chiefs trade for defensive tackle Neil Farrell Jr. Patriots traded recently for 2 offensive linemen. The Rams trade for Steelers offensive guard Kevin Dotson. The Bears trade for offensive lineman Dan Feeney. And the Giants trade for Boogie Basham.
Right. So what does this tell you? It tells you that most teams believe that they can get guys, if they want to upgrade their roster, they feel like they can find guys that get cut and upgrade it that way. There's not that many trades, right? I mean, and we'll get to this, but we still have teams that don't have backup quarterbacks. We still have teams that don't have punters, right? So, they're just going to sign guys or get guys. You only make a trade if you really feel like there's a hole on your roster and you really feel like you want to make sure you get a specific guy that you feel good about filling that role, right? So obviously these teams, they wanted what they believed to be good kickers. You know, Sean Payton's very familiar with Will Lutz, okay. You know, Vrabel really wanted a good kicker. He got Nick Folk. What's interesting to me there is that the Saints and the Patriots are both going with very unproven kickers. That's the thing I think is interesting there. The Eagles for Albert O is interesting too because now they have 4 tight ends. And I do think that tells you that they basically just didn't want to take the chance that somebody else would claim him off of waivers. They wanted him. The ones I think are most interesting to me are the Chiefs trading for a D tackle because obviously they feel like they're light there without Chris Jones potentially for a while. Patriots have 11 O-linemen on their roster right now after trading for these 2 young guys. I just like saying Boogie Basham, which is why I included him. The Rams needed a guard, so they got Kevin Dotson. And the Bears, I think, really wanted a swing inside guy, which is basically my role. I was basically like Dan Feeney when I was a player for those 7 years.
Then we'll move to some of the more surprising cuts. The Cardinals cut quarterback Colt McCoy. Patriots cut backup quarterback Bailey Zappi. Bengals cut quarterback Trevor Siemian, and they will go Jake Browning as Joe Burrow's backup. The Bears cut both Nathan Peterman and P.J. Walker, and they'll go Tyson Bagent as their backup quarterback. Saints cut Bradley Roby. Giants released slot wide receivers Jamison Crowder and Cole Beasley. And the Texans cut linebacker Christian Kirksey.
3 of these here that I really like, I really want to talk about. The Bears cutting Peterman and P.J. Walker. Congratulations, Tyson Bagent. You know how hard that is, dude? You know how hard that is to be a D2 rookie with no experience, and the team cuts both guys that have started NFL games, been around for a few years. P.J. Walker got $2 million guaranteed, and the Bears still cut him to go with Bagent. You know, he got an opportunity, and he made the most of it. I am thrilled for that young man and his family. The Cardinals cutting Colt McCoy is just bizarre. I mean, how do they look at the guys, the veterans in the locker room, and tell them that they're trying to win games this year? They're doing everything they can to win games this year. That's a dangerous, slippery slope, I feel like, for Jonathan Gannon to be in right now. And the Patriots cutting back Bailey Zappi is interesting. I feel like they will be going ahead, and I said this last night on Twitter, Jack, they're gonna trade for Brian Hoyer for his 8th stint with the Patriots. That would be amazing. Almost as amazing as the fact that we got college football this weekend, and life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code ROSS. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code ROSS. The crown is yours.
Eagles signed suspended cornerback Isaiah Rodgers.
Very, very smart. Very, very smart. I love this about the Eagles because it just proves they're always looking ahead, Jack. They're always thinking about the next year, even though they're going for the Super Bowl this year.
And we'll wrap things up. The Bills put edge rusher Von Miller on the PUP, and safety Damar Hamlin does make the final 53.
Well, so, I don't think anybody thought that we would see Von Miller the first 4 weeks anyway. They need to make sure he's 100% right for the stretch run. There's no question there. And the Damar Hamlin story, man, I mean, I admire, I guess, his courage to even come back to playing in the NFL. That's number one. But then to be able to go out there and play well enough to make the team, because I don't think they gave that to him. Like, I think that, I'm sure if it was close, they were going to have him on the team, and they were giving him the benefit of the doubt, but he still had to go out there and earn it, and that's exactly what he did. Make sure you check out today's Fantasy Feast podcast, because we're going over all of these recent moves from a fantasy perspective. You don't want to miss that. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.